The league that once bent over backward to protect her just threw her under the bus. And Brittney Griner, she never saw it coming.
Indiana Fever and Atlanta Dream played. Indiana Fever is where Caitlin Clark plays. Atlanta Dream is where Brittney Griner plays. Now you tell me what it looks like Brittney Griner is saying here.
The ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
For a little bit of context, this was in the fourth quarter after Brittney Griner fouled out against Caitlin Clark, and Indiana Fever would go on to win by 5. Now I'm going to tell you what I think she said. Let's play it back. Looks to me like she is saying trash and then calling Caitlin Clark a plebe white girl. Just a reminder, this is who Joe Biden traded for the Russian merchant of death. So many WNBA players hate Caitlin Clark so much when she is the best thing that could have happened to the league. And she's not the best thing that happened to the league because she's white.
After weeks of silence, deflection, and outright denial, the WNBA just made a decision that could end one of its most controversial careers, and fans are calling it long overdue. For years, Griner was treated like she was untouchable, rescued from a Russian prison, elevated as a face of the league, and shielded from criticism no matter how outrageous her behavior became. But everything changed the moment cameras caught her mouthing something you can't walk back. A racial slur aimed directly at Caitlin Clark, the very rookie who's done more to grow the league in months than most veterans have in years. The video was clear. The lip readers confirmed it. The backlash was immediate, and yet the WNBA stalled, pretending it never happened, hoping it would blow over, but it didn't. And now, the shield that protected Griner for years has shattered. What comes next might just change the entire WNBA forever. It happened in plain sight. No edits, no speculation, just a slow-motion disaster caught on national TV. As Brittney Griner walked off the court after fouling out against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, cameras captured her mouthing something that made even seasoned fans freeze. The words were unmistakable.
Brittney Griner elbowing Caitlin Clark in a crazy way and then calling her a trash white girl.
And Brittney Griner has not commented, which I find significant. I've watched that video countless times, and it sure looks like Brittney Griner says, white girl.
The WNBA should investigate Brittney Griner's seemingly uttering profanities about white girl.
Not whispered, not misheard. Captured, reviewed, and confirmed by multiple professional lip readers. It didn't take a body language expert to figure it out. Griner's frustration was boiling over, but instead of lashing out at refs or gameplay, she targeted race, something you'd think the WNBA would have zero tolerance for, especially given its own no space for hate campaigns.
If you want to get people never to watch the WNBA, this is an amazing way to do it. If the league is going to be rooted in this sort of nastiness with regard to its only real star, good luck to them. Well, folks, the left has a real problem in the United States. They've spent the last several decades talking about how racism is an endemic problem in American life. And there's a problem with that problem, which is there's not enough racism.
Now ask yourself, what if Clark had said the same thing, only flipped? What if she'd called Griner a trash black girl on live television? Her career would have ended that night. There would have been immediate suspension, sponsors dropping her, social media bans, possibly even legal threats. But for Brittney Griner, silence. Not even a statement from the league. No punishment, no public accountability, just the sound of the WNBA looking the other way again. But that's not all.
Brittney Griner was caught on tape during a game with the Indiana Fever, dropping racial slurs against Caitlin Clark, and pretty obviously doing so.
Attack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
And it doesn't take a lot of genius to lip read Brittney Griner, whose voice, by the way, is about as low as mine is, calling her trash and an effing white girl. Now, of course, if Caitlin Clark had ever suggested the same in reverse, using black as opposed to white in that sentence, that'd be the end of her WNBA career. But Brittney Griner is going strong. It's totally fine.
Instead of doing the obvious, acknowledging the footage and addressing the slur, the WNBA suddenly went deaf, dumb, and blind. The same league that once launched an entire investigation into imaginary racism from Indiana Fever fans had nothing to say when one of their biggest stars was caught on video making an actual racist comment. No urgent press release, no disciplinary meeting, no suspension, just dead silence and some awkward side eyes from the front office. This is the same organization that claims to champion equality, that plastered no space for hate on jerseys, banners, and social media. But apparently that message only applies when it's convenient, or when the target isn't one of their favorite veterans.
Is the WNBA okay with one of its players saying white girl on the bench and getting caught by TV cameras saying such? I guess they are. I guess they're okay with it. Obviously, the league would very much not be okay with a white player saying black girl on the bench in anger and getting caught by TV cameras. That would be an immediate suspension, if not a career ender for said white girl.
Instead of holding Griner accountable, the league quietly hoped the scandal would disappear under the next game's highlight reel. They banked on Clark's humility, on fans forgetting, on the media letting it slide. But none of that happened, because this wasn't some anonymous burner account tweeting hate. This was Brittney Griner, live on national television, spewing venom at the rookie who's carried the WNBA into the spotlight. And karma, it doesn't miss. The shield of favoritism that's protected Griner for years was finally about to shatter, and when it did, it hit like a bomb. After weeks of tiptoeing in silence, the WNBA finally cracked. The league that once moved mountains to protect Brittney Griner just did the unthinkable. It dropped a multi-game suspension right in her lap. 3 games, no appeal, no soft explanation, just a cold, hard statement. The behavior was unacceptable. Griner didn't even try to deny it. In a press conference that sounded more like a confession, she admitted she knew a suspension was coming. "I already know that I was going to get some time for that," she said, almost like she'd been waiting for the hammer to fall.
I mean, I know there's always consequences to actions. You know, what I did, I already know that I was going to get, some time for that. And, I respect, I got 3 games. Okay. I'm not disputing that at all. Do I think that it should have been 3 across the board? Boom, everybody involved in it, 3-3-3? I think that would have been, honestly, fair. I would have been happy today with that. Not happy today. And it's not because of my suspension. I take ownership.
But the damage wasn't just in the number of games. It was in the timing. The WNBA didn't act when the footage surfaced. They didn't act when fans erupted. They acted when it became financially impossible not to. Sponsors started asking questions. TV networks started raising concerns. Behind closed doors, executives were having very real conversations about public image, revenue, and Caitlin Clark, the one player actually growing the league. Protecting Griner was becoming more expensive than punishing her, and once that tipping point hit, the league's hand was forced. Griner wasn't suspended because the WNBA suddenly found its moral compass. She was suspended because the cost of shielding her became too high. And what happened next? It was a total collapse.
By Autumn Johnson.
PG, right now you have 10 points, 5 rebounds. We see the Atlanta Dream as being very... Right now she's talking to the refs about holding. We're gonna send it back to you guys.
Very important questions.
This wasn't just a slap on the wrist. The ripple effect of Brittney Griner's suspension is brutal, and it's still spreading. For every game she misses, she's losing tens of thousands in pay. But that's just the surface. The real hit is behind the scenes, where her brand is collapsing in real time. Endorsement deals quietly canceled, speaking gigs, withdrawn, sponsors, ghosting her like she never existed.
Brittney Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittney Griner calls... I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittney Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
Well, that pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this with Brittney Griner, right? And then the other quote, Rob, then I'm going to wrap this up and then I'm going to go to Adam. Put the quote of Brittney Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittney. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called the freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game.
One moment of racist anger, caught on video, broadcast to millions, just destroyed years of marketability. And the irony? This is the same woman the US traded a convicted arms dealer to bring home. A global prisoner exchange that dominated headlines. A rescue that came with a heavy political and financial cost. And how did she repay it? Not with gratitude, not with humility, but with hostility, entitlement, and now a racial slur aimed at the one rookie who saved the league from irrelevance. Every dollar Griner loses is a reminder, not just of what she said, but of everything she represents to the fans and brands walking away. A veteran who thought she was untouchable, a player who used to be the WNBA's pride, now it's liability. But the league wasn't just reacting to this one outburst, it was reacting to a pattern they could no longer ignore.
Griner, the WNBA's Brittney Griner, is in fact a man. And where a lot of this actually surfaced from, and I mean, you guys could probably say like, yo, isn't it obvious? Like her voice, you know, there's a lot of things that you can kind of look towards. However, this video actually resurfaced. It's an Instagram story from, I believe it says 109 weeks ago. I can't see from here, but over 2 years ago, that this video was recorded and it was recently leaked on Twitter. So Kelly, if we can go ahead and play this video, please, and then we'll have a discussion.
Value, Brittney. Let me see something real quick. Brick, thank you. Get the fuck.
Damn.
Look at the chat.
Let's be honest, this suspension wasn't just about one slur. It was the breaking point in a long pattern of behavior the league could no longer sweep under the rug. Remember when Griner publicly complained about fan noise, calling it disruptive because people were actually watching the games for once? That wasn't a joke. She genuinely saw increased attendance, largely thanks to Caitlin Clark, as a nuisance. Every time we play her, Griner said, there's this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's just people sitting there watching on purpose. You'd think a player would be thrilled that fans were finally filling the seats, but not Griner. Instead of celebrating the WNBA's newfound spotlight, she treated it like an inconvenience. Brittney Griner once looked destined for the Hall of Fame. Towering stats, global headlines, and a comeback from Russia saga tailor-made for Hollywood. But legacies aren't carved in stat sheets alone. They're etched in public memory, and now every highlight reel of hers is forever spliced with a single slow-motion clip of hateful lips and a deafening backlash that followed.
Riley's point though, I think it is important. If the inverse had been said by a white person, just imagine the outrage that would be taking place right now. There is just so much hypocrisy in every institution, but particularly the WNBA, who are very fond of virtue signaling. But even when it comes to Brittney's exchange for like the Merchant of Death, which is insane, by the way, but had that been just like a straight white girl, my guess is that straight white girl would probably still be rotting.
More brutal still is the realization that today's rookies, the ones who once watched Griner's highlights on loop, now study her downfall as a cautionary tale. Coaches cite it in media training sessions. One slip, one slur, and your jersey becomes a relic no kid wants to wear. For Griner, the roar of crowds has warped into a hollow echo, a reminder that applause is conditional and forgiveness has a price she can't afford. But Griner's personal downfall is only half the story, because the ripple she created is rolling through the entire WNBA, reshaping power dynamics in ways the league never imagined.
Brittney is a weird case. He's a man, yes, that much is obvious, but not in the way that you think. He isn't trans. He's a straight cis male who was raised as a girl and given a girl's name by his parents. His mother is the insane one. She forced him to live as a female right up through high school, filled out all of his paperwork, including BC as female, and kept the charade going.
Shockwaves don't stop at one player. They rattle every corner of the court. Inside locker rooms across the league, veterans who once believed star status guaranteed immunity just felt the ground shift. Coaches are quietly rewriting conduct. Manuals. General managers, suddenly allergic to PR landmines, are recalculating the true cost of difficult talent. Agents are fielding frantic calls from clients asking, if they punished Griner, what happens if my past tweets resurface? Sponsors, meanwhile, have discovered a backbone of their own. Brands burned by Griner's implosion are demanding ironclad morality clauses before they sign another check. Television networks, eager to cash in on Caitlin Clark's soaring ratings, now insist on rosters that won't torpedo family-friendly broadcasts with off-court scandals. Even the players' union, long accused of circling wagons around repeat offenders, faces pressure from rank-and-file members who refuse to let one person's arrogance sabotage the league's biggest growth spurt in decades. If the WNBA embraces this wake-up call, it could emerge stronger, fairer, and more profitable than anyone thought possible. But if it backslides, the next scandal will be nuclear. Brittney Griner's suspension is more than a punishment. It's a watershed moment. A league that once prized optics over accountability finally reached its tipping point, and the price of silence proved higher than the price of action. Griner's fall from untouchable icon to cautionary tale shows that legacy is fragile, and reputation can vanish with a single hateful breath. For Caitlin Clark, this is validation that the game she's revitalizing now has her back. For the WNBA, it's a test. Keep enforcing the rules evenly, or watch hard-earned credibility dissolve overnight. For every athlete watching from the sidelines, it's a stark reminder that skill and stardom don't excuse bigotry, ever. So where does the league go from here? Toward a future where talent and integrity share the same jersey, or back to the old playbook of selective justice? That answer will unfold in the next tip-off, the next tweet, the next locker room whisper caught on camera. One thing is certain, the shield of favoritism is gone. Actions have consequences, and in today's WNBA, karma runs the fast break. If you believe accountability is long overdue, smash that like button, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe for more stories that pull no punches. Because in this league, the truth always gets a rematch.